Hello, good evening. This is Brother Benson Media. We're also live on our sister channel, Kikao na Sauti. Allow me to take this opportunity to welcome all our viewers and to remind you that over here we do say that your opinion counts. And before we start, allow me to introduce or to welcome Brother Benson so that he can say hi to our viewers na tuambie siku yake imekuwa vipi before we get into the discussion of today.
Alright.
Brother Benson, karibu.
Asante sana Makobura. Mimi siku yangu na jioni yangu imekuwa njema, sijaona mabaya.
Okay, thank you so much. Nami pia siku yangu imekuwa vyema. Kazi hapa na pale kama kawaida, lakini mezoea, ni hali ya maisha. Allow me to acknowledge a good friend at the comment section. I can see Paulo Kisiangas. Thank you so much for finding time to join us this evening. And so today, I want us to just have a discussion on more so the ruling that came out today.
Yeah.
Sifuna has been having issues, political battles here and there. Of course, on regards to his removal as the Secretary General, something that he holds very dear. We've always seen him whenever he's going for these rallies. He has always stated clearly that mimi ni Sifuna kwa mapenzi ya Mungu,
kwa mapenzi ya Mwenyezi Mungu, kwa maombi yenu na mapenzi ya Mwenyezi Mungu. Mimi ndio bado katibu mkuu wa chama cha ODM na kiranja walio chache bungeni na seneta wa Nairobi.
And the court confirmed, the tribunal also confirmed that today. And so before we get into that, allow me to just once again welcome all our viewers.
Yes.
And today we'll dwell in Kenyan politics, where the tribunal gave their views. And then we've got issues, of course, to do with the legal battles that Sifuna has been having. We'll also have part of discussion about the president's trip, or touching on the diplomacy. We've seen also Caleb Amisi having his own way or his own narration of what he believes about the Kenyan politics. We'll also have a discussion about that. Lawyer Dunstan Omari is also giving a sharp critic about what he believes or what he thinks about the move that ODM party has been making when it comes to the legal matters. We'll also have a look into that as well. And so allow me to just get into the topic, and we'll start with the issue of Edwin Sifuna versus the ODM. So the Political Parties Tribunal has ruled that the ODM violated Edwin Sifuna's right to a fair hearing when attempting to oust him as the Secretary General. Remember, up to date, if you can remember the court ruling the other time, they stated very well that Sifuna was still the Secretary General, and that the way he was being removed was not, they didn't follow the procedures. And then now it was taken to the Political Parties Tribunal that also gave their view. So his removal was declared unlawful, though ODM can restart the disciplinary proceedings according to this. The views of the Political Parties Tribunal. They're saying that if they want to still proceed with that, they can still do it, but they have to follow the law. They have to follow the proceedings. The right procedure or the right process or the due process in ensuring that his rights are all respected, and that there is that following of the law. And that brings me back to this other question again. Why is it that we've seen the other day, you saw the issue of Rigathi Gachagua was also bringing a lot of issues, and the court came out and said that the rights of fair hearing. And so this fair hearing, it is coming out to be a serious thing. So before we get into the exact specifics of this case, you can just give us your view on the right, fair hearing, according to your understanding, and why we've always seen a lot of, people not giving it a keen understanding. Why is it that serious cases, whenever they're being made, serious decisions, similar to the impeachment, for example, that we saw for the deputy president, similar to the removal of Edwin Sifuna as the Secretary General, fair hearing has not always been done? Why is it that?
So
Most of those who are associating with the government, they always do it in hurry, and then they try to, when you try asking why, there's no genuine answer that is coming, but later on the court will always say that they didn't follow the right procedure. Is it a violation of our constitution?
no, one of the things that you have to understand, especially when it comes to political parties matters, and even to the fair hearing and that, one thing that we have to agree in our country, sometimes we do or initiate such processes, especially when our thoughts are not agreeing or our views are not converging. Remember, to start with Edwin Sifuna, when you look at the history of Edwin Sifuna with ODM, the things that Edwin Sifuna has been saying have not changed. They are the same thing that he used to say when Raila was alive. But due to the fact that we lost Raila and Oburu came in and they were in the process of negotiating or in the process of starting negotiation with UDA, Sifuna seems to be like somebody who was a stumbling block, especially to stop, or he was not aligning his thoughts with that of Oburu and the president. So that's why his removal was initiated. And if you look at the way it was done so hurriedly. Remember, there was a time they went to Kilifi, and in that, Sifuna was saying that, okay, when they went to Kilifi, there were some goons that were organized that could, try to beat him up in Kilifi. And remember, Emilio Diambo also talked about the same. But what we are looking here is about following the due process. What is the due process of removal of a Secretary General of a party? This brings you back to the history. There are so many people who have disagreed with the party and they've gone through party tribunal. They end up winning. Remember Aisha Jumwa when she went to the tribunal, especially when the ODM wanted to remove her as the commission. It was a commission in the parliament, I think so. It did not go well. Look at what Orioba too was removed as the senator for UDA. What happened? He ended up winning the case. Actually, she should be the senator right now, the nominated senator. But what happened? So when you look at the history of the tribunal, especially those who have gone to cases of removing a member or a member appealing, feeling that his political rights have been violated or the due process has been violated, you find that the party owners, especially, have never won those cases. And even if you come to the political parties, there are so many cases that are still pending, even in the courts. Especially look at Wetangula. Wetangula is on a conservatory order as the chair of the Ford Kenya. There's somebody who went when they were having these leadership issues. Somebody like of Simiu. It was called like, was it Munyinyo? I cannot remember very well. But it was taken to court. There was a conservatory order, but so when it comes to political parties, especially when it comes to dispute, it is something that major political parties have not won, and they've ended up dragging in the courts. So for the case of Sifuna, the courts were saying that Sifuna was not given a fair hearing. And when you look at a fair hearing, I think like it also brings about the condition, giving you an opportunity to encounter the allegation that is laid against you or that you're being accused of, which I think the ODM did not done. But when you look at now the cases, the case for Sifuna today, it is a win-win situation. And why do I say it is a win-win? as much as Sifuna still remains the SG of ODM, but now the room has been given to ODM to start afresh, and especially to remove Sifuna or expel him as the SG. So it will be upon the ODM and the leadership to follow the guided procedure. How are they going to make environment workable or environment conducive for Sifuna to also defend himself? Remember, they have internal what they have what internal mechanism resolutions on how the internal, and who are the people who are going to be in that committee, just in case if they want to listen to Sifuna. Because if you bring the officials that are not having the same view, who are not taking a neutral stand, then what will happen? Sifuna will still go to court. So I think this will be here for some times, and I think maybe Sifuna also is buying time, because I know for a fact that I don't think in the long run Sifuna they will be happy to work with Sifuna in ODM. So this is something that we are still going to see more of such cases, Mr. Makobura.
Okay, thank you so much. I can see our good friend Laban Misiani over here, and Laban is saying that Sifuna should resign if he feels that. Okay.
No, what's something that Laban has to understand is that this is politics, and politics you have to also to make sure that you mark where you are going to be sure. Remember, look at disagreement that happened between President William Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta, and Uhuru during the Jubilee. And President Ruto came up with Jubilee. He did not resign until the last minute because he was still putting his house in order. So in politics, you have to mark time when you're putting yourself, you collecting yourself and see that, making sure that when you get out, what are you going to gain? Because remember, one thing that we have to agree that ODM has a significant support, especially. And there are benefits that Edwin is enjoying as in ODM, or to be part of that ODM. Even right now, as the cases are being heard, or all these processes are taking place, or dispute, there are some of the things that he enjoys, So when you live without a proper plan, he cannot resign. That is one. Secondly, you also have to find a way of when you're living, you have to have that sympathy that people will sympathize with you to take advantage of the situation. So the politicians, they know on how they go around all this to be relevant in whatever they are doing. So I don't think that Sifuna can just resign like that. He has to still, mark his territory well. And when the time comes, I think he will.
Okay. Thank you. Just if you can remember very well, this case began in it was in January when the ODM National Executive Committee moved to ouster Edwin Sifuna as the Secretary General. And then Sifuna quickly sought for protection from the political parties dispute tribunal that then their views today. So let me just partly dwell on the tribunal's finding. They ruled that the ODM's attempt unlawful because Sifuna was not accorded a fair hearing. He wasn't notified that his conduct would be discussed. Because you remember there was so many issues that were being that were being raised on the constitution. Remember, the party has its own constitution, and the party's constitution is very clear that before you are removed, there has to be, your conduct has to be discussed, and they have to look into what you went against. But in his case, his conduct was not discussed. Was not given a chance to even respond. We've always seen, I think you've always been around, Brother Ben, and ODM. Actually, we've seen these things in ODM. We've seen ODM calling there was a time they were having they wanted to remove, was it Aisha Jomwa, or
Yes.
this member of parliament was brought before them.
It was Aisha Jumwa. I can remember very well. Aisha Jumwa. And it got, and it did not happen until Aisha Jumwa left and joined UDA.
Yeah, so I remember she was being asked so many questions on why she did this. I didn't see Sifuna go through that, but it is there in the constitution of ODM. But again, the tribunal invalidated the next resolution, but allowed ODM to restart the disciplinary proceeding according to what is there within their constitution. So let us partly maybe look into the implications for this. This case is still showing us the many internal fractures that are there between the leaders. There is this faction, of course, led by Dr. Buru. They want to side with the government. And again, it is also, they're pushing for. There's also this side that is pushing for a stronger opposition led by Sifuna. So it raises so many questions about party democracy. And remember, Raila Amolo Odinga used to really speak much about party democracy. And if you can remember again, there's a time there was this issue of Sifuna, and he said that our party is democratic and we give room for people to give their views.
Yeah.
So, what is your views on all this? As
one thing that I would say about what is happening in ODM, and this is a lesson that each and every political parties in Kenya are made of. This exposes our political party. And I still always believe, and I still believe until today, that the political parties that we have, these political parties are not institutional or institutionalized. The reason being, this political party, they have persona around them. They're people who are running them, because they are created by the people. They are personalities that are behind. For example, we've said here all along that when you look at UDA, when UDA was being branded, let's agree that President William Ruto invested so much in UDA than any other person who currently are in UDA. You cannot convince me that the people who there's somebody who invested in UDA branding and to make UDA to be where it is today is President William Ruto. And that's why if you are not agreeing with President William Ruto, they cannot give you ticket for UDA. Remember what happened to Keter when Keter was running for Nandi parliamentary seat. What happened was he won the nomination, but what happened? They ended up not giving him certificate, and the reason being he was not in good books, especially politically, with the president. And even if you come to ODM, all these internal structures that they are saying, that internal structures and all that, these are papers. Because tell me, how do you want to convince me for now that somebody who is running for an office, for instance, the governor for Homa Bay is the chair of ODM, yeah, and she's still the person who she also wants to run for the governor, and just in case if things to go by, she might be in the committee that will be sitting, especially to deliberate on or to listen to Sifuna. And you know very well that right now, their political ideologies, their political views are not converging. It means even at that particular moment in time when they go for those committees, Edwin Sifuna will not have a fair hearing, because the person who is going to listen or the person who is going to make these rulings, they've come with a prejudge. They have something that they hold against this person, So this exposes our political parties. If our political parties could have been having officials, like when you go to these developed countries, whereby the chair of the party, is somebody that is elected and it doesn't run for any office. They are running independently. They're not individually owned. Our political parties are individually owned. All those, the democracy, all this D you see on these, our political parties, their purpose, because the party will always decide, especially the party leaders will always decide what they want with their parties. Yeah, remember when before Raila died, Raila was talking about conclave and people we should have a conclave conversation. And that is what came out of the resolution. Remember the resolution that they had after sitting, that people should start talking. But this is a suggestion that was suggested by the party leader, So this is what is happening as exposed, So I don't think that we've reached a point whereby we can say that our political parties are independent, even though they have their constitution now. The tribunal party is coming in, but the personalities play so much than the rule of law.
Okay, thank you so much for your views. And there's this issue of Caleb Amisi.
Yeah.
Caleb Amisi has always positioned himself as a radical voice within ODM.
Mm-hmm.
He denies being a mole for Ruto,
Mm-hmm.
but many times people are saying he's a mole. And he's also warning that Kenyan youths could radicalize if reforms fail. The other day we saw him attending, former Chief Justice Maraga's, event, and he said that Maraga Sifuna event, according to him, is proposing that in 2027, Maraga Edwin Sifuna's ticket is one of the best. He was arguing that Kenya must move forward beyond tribal politics.
Mm-hmm.
He insists that if Sifuna doesn't run for president, he should deputize Maraga. And if Sifuna is thinking otherwise, then he will not allow.
Okay. Makobura, there's something here that I think, like, especially Caleb Amisi and the rest, and the United Opposition and everyone, something that they should. It is not very easy, that I would say, from the look of things, that to come out and say that, okay, you want to remove president. They will come to realize that it is quite much harder to remove President William Ruto. One of the things that they have to recognize is, one, that if they unite, then it could be they could give Ruto competition. They could compete with the president. But if they go ways the way Caleb Amisi is suggesting, then their one-term slogan and all that is something that they're not going to actualize. But now, when to come to Caleb Amisi, remember, Caleb Amisi has a political party. And if you look at Linda Mwananchi right now, as we speak, Linda Mwananchi does not have a structure. I would say it is amorphous. Yeah, it is amorphous because you don't have control of Linda Mwananchi. Yeah, and they have right now, as we speak, because they do not have structures, anybody can call the shots. Remember, if you want to know how Linda Mwananchi is facing challenge, I want to give you a scenario that happened in Thika. When Pauline Njoroge was given an opportunity to speak, he talked of our party leader to be Edwin Sifuna. I don't know whether you captured that. But when James Orengo came, James Orengo spoke otherwise, that I've been in the politics for so long that it's not about, party leader is not about presidential, but it is a movement, So as we speak right now, Linda Mwananchi does not have any structure. And if you listen to Sifuna, he was in another podcast, he said that the people who are allied to it are around only 20 members of parliament. All these people who are here, including Pauline Njoroge, all these people are looking for their interests, because we know Pauline Njoroge is a Jubilee. Edwin Sifuna is an ODM, and all them. Let's say today Caleb Amisi is bolting out. What kind of punishment would you give Caleb Amisi as Linda Mwananchi? Yeah, there's nothing that you can do to Caleb Amisi because Linda Mwananchi does not have any structure and all that. So Caleb Amisi has his own political parties. Maybe is rooting for a situation whereby his political party can be the bargaining power, whereby the Linda Mwananchi members who are not agreeing, maybe in ODM, especially Babu Owino, Edwin Sifuna, might jump into that. So when they jump into that, it becomes a negotiating power. Remember, and Linda Mwananchi people and Edwin Sifuna also should learn, Rigathi Gachagua is a perfect example of somebody who learned from political mistakes or political decisions that he made that he still regrets like today. Remember when people were going to general election in 2022, Moses Kuria had his own political party, and Moses Kuria advised that when they're going to negotiation with the UDA, they should have a political party whereby from Mount Kenya, I mean, that where you should have the bargaining. But I'm told rumorsly that Rigathi Gachagua refused because he trusted the agreement between him and the president. When the impeachment came, it was very difficult, especially for Rigathi Gachagua to defend himself. But being a quick learner, what did he do? Immediately after impeachment, he embarked on how to register his own political parties and make sure that he has somewhere to start bargaining with. Even United Opposition right now, they're saying that them and Linda Mwananchi are talking together. But do you think what structure, especially if the negotiation is called on the table, what party is Edwin Sifuna coming to negotiate with? Is he coming to negotiate at an individual level or is coming to negotiate as a Linda Mwananchi? So that is something that also Caleb Amisi might be looking at to say like, okay, let them jump the ship here. So my party can be as a point of negotiation. That is one. Secondly, politics, you cannot say, even those who are calling Caleb Amisi Mall, because like he is speaking some of the things that people of Linda Mwananchi does not want to listen to, and is questioning who is going to become president. If unatoa President William Ruto, now you are even replacing him with somebody who is worse than President William Ruto, according to him. So what does that one mean? That one means, okay, now we can vote in President William Ruto because we know him, maybe the way he might be thinking, yeah. So those usually happens. The constitution is clear. Political party, there are clear guidelines that individual owned. Yeah, example, you register, you must meet a threshold of offices and not then, yeah. Yeah, so that, yes, that is true. And that's why I'm bringing this issue of Linda Mwananchi. Linda Mwananchi does not have any structure anywhere of a political party. And when it comes to negotiation, they will be very weak, especially they will have nothing to hang on when they're negotiating, even with the leaders like Rigathi Gachagua, Matiang'i, and all that. So that is something that I would say.
Yeah, thank you. Allow me to acknowledge the presence of the Ngalas at the watching us, and he has also commented from Facebook. Thank you so much. Allow me to as well acknowledge the presence of June Wesley. Thank you so much, June, for letting us know that you're locked in. Allow me to acknowledge the presence of Brenda Obedi again as at the comment section. Thank you so much for finding time to join us. We are live on our two platforms, Brother Benson Media and our sister channel, Kikao na Sauti. And over here, we do say that your opinion counts. If you're watching for the first time, we request you to kindly like and subscribe. Because if you do so, it is a way of supporting us. Na sisi hapa, as usual, tutasema ni asante.
Mm-hmm.
And, just still on the issue of Caleb Amisi, you say that he did launch a political party. It's called the People's Movement. It's called, yes.
Something renaissance.
The other day was also launching a movement called People's Movement. I don't know whether you saw that. And this, he was saying, he aimed at boosting youth's participation in the governance. According to him, the growing frustration among Kenyan youth with the traditional ethnic-based politics, part of them are going to join his movement because he's feeling that those who have been in the political limelight are not supposed. Those who had been elected before and possibly never participated well in matters of politics are not supposed to be given a chance, and the young people are not supposed to associate with them. So, just your view again in what are the implications of this? His stance challenges the ODM's establishment.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, this could reshape the opposition politics by aligning with the movements like, or the political parties like the Green. The one for Maraga is United Green Movement, if I'm not wrong,
Mm-hmm.
which is, Maraga is emphasizing on the constitutionalism, rule of law, and of course the anti-corruption. But what really worries me again is immediately after I left this particular, uh, group, I mean, this event for Maraga, he
Mm-hmm.
went again and met with the Safina party leader, Jimmy Wanjigi.
Mm-hmm.
And while at Jimmy Wanjigi's side, I wish I had that post. I
Yeah.
remember he spoke about, issues of governance, and he said that Jimmy Wanjigi are the like-minded, according to him, and he understands. In his own words, he said that Jimmy Wanjigi understands the economy and that he can fix the economy. And he said that there are possibility of them getting, working together. So
Mm-hmm.
my question to you again is: Caleb Amisi coming out to be a genuine politician, or is a politician who is out trying to look for friends who are going to work with him as as time goes?
Makobura, there's what we call generational politics, and this is about the aging. When you talk about age, you find that there are quite a number of people who have been in the political field for quite some time. But when you're talking about leadership of the country, their leadership is inclusive, yeah, and anybody, despite their ages, they can be elected. A typical example I can give you, for instance, at what age did Obama retire as a president? At 55. And at what age was Trump voted in the presidency?
Seven something.
So 70s and 55. So when you're talking about the generational and say that the people who have been that kind of politics, I do not think like at this moment in time can work. Remember, even when President William Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta came into power in 2013, it was about the generational politics, but it was coiled in a way to mean digital and analog. When you analyze the word digital and analog, it was all about the old, yeah, the analog were the people who are old, and this one they were including the likes of the late right honorable Prime Minister Raila Odinga, Musalia Mudavadi, and all that. So I don't think like the issue is about the age who comes into the power. No, the issue is about the system or the software that we are using. If we are talking about bringing changes, we have also to think about changing the softwares that we are using. And one of the softwares of our country is the Constitution. Are we following the Constitution? What Constitutions allows us, or what Constitutions requires us to do? Because the Constitution is the baseline that guide everyone. It's like a path where we are going. What are the don'ts and the do's that we should do, especially when it comes to leadership? Who are the people who should be given the opportunity to be in the leadership? You look at talking about integrity. If you have any corruption or corrupt cases that, if you are accused of, you have to clear yourself. When your educational matters, especially we are looking at your academic records are not adding up, then the Constitution deals with that. The Constitution has given the age limit on where, especially for specifics, especially when you're running for president, you should be at that particular age and over, but it has not given what age. So when we are talking about the generational change, or what Caleb Amisi is talking about, I do not think, where I sit, that is something that can be one of those reasons that we need to be, that we have to change our system. And how do we change our system? We change our system by voting the right people in the office. If you vote the right people in the office, when it comes to appointment, they will not make sure that they appoint the people that you say they are very old. You know, if he's talking about the old, if Raila was here today, I do not think that Caleb Amisi would challenge Raila to run. If Raila was there and said that I'm running in 2027, he would not challenge that, because that if that could have been the case, he could have challenged that even when Raila was still alive. You know, so Caleb Amisi, I think, is somebody who is looking for his political interest, you know, or is working to achieve a particular agenda. That is all what politics is.
Okay, thank you so much. And I'd wanted to speak about Lawyer Omari's critic, and I forgot. I wanted it to tie it with the ODM versus Sifuna's case.
Mhm.
And Lawyer Danson Omari is one of those lawyers who are always vocal, and they've always taken time to give the analysis of what they think about the day-to-day activities of the judiciary, or things to do with the rule of law. The other day you saw him giving his version or his understanding of what he thought about the ruling of the High Court on Rigathi Gachagwa's case, where the court found that his rights were violated, and still the court went ahead to say, I mean, they failed to annul that particular, that particular impeachment. So we saw Dunstan Omari, we saw senior counsel Ahmed Nasir, and many others. They've always given their view. So Dunstan is saying that not just within ODM, even in Kenya,
Mhm.
he did criticize ODM, saying that ODM's handling of disciplinary cases they have repeatedly not followed the law. And he argues that ODM keep losing the tribunal battles because it ignores the due process, fair administration action, and of course internal democracy by not following part of the rules that they made and they did place in their constitution.
Mm.
So Omari is pointing out that ODM often rushes to expulsion,
Yeah.
expelling people,
Mm.
and they're doing this with emotions, without proper notice,
Uh-huh.
proper documentation, or even fair hearing. This, of course, is violating one, the Political Parties Act. It is violating again the constitution of the party
Mhm.
and the entirety of the constitutions, which is the Kenyan's constitution.
Um, you
So,
know, uh,
what are your views on this? Not and as you give us your view,
mhm.
you can give again a general view on the cases that have been handled here in the Republic of Kenya. More so, of course, starting from like the one that I've just given you an example. The courts have been coming out to give a clarity that all this, we are seeing that bad manners of not following the law. It's coming up. But the funny thing is, they first make this move, throw you out, and you're out there. And then now, when you start following for your justice, you are told that, of course, things were not done the right way, but you cannot even get back there. Do you think, to me, it's a bad manners? Just give us your view, and how are we going to get out of this, this bad behavior?
No, it is not only with ODM, it is with the country. And I would give you a few incidences, especially to start to be more specific, is about ODM. Remember when President William Ruto came to power, there are a few number of members of parliament, especially from Nyanza, who actually decided to go and work with President William Ruto. And they received backlash, especially, like, I can remember there was a time Mark Nyamita was supposed to be, I don't know what happened with Mark Nyamita, and he was not supposed to attend. He was on assignment duty, if I'm not wrong, and he was not able to attend the party, and they ended up expelling him. But what happened later? Um, I don't. I think, like, some of them, including Omondi Karoli, and what happened? They did not manage to expel him, and later they came and joined the government. And now, when talking about, especially when it comes to the political parties and what they do in parliament, we've normalized, especially not to follow the guidelines or the rules that guides us, especially even on how we work. Even right now, you look at what is happening in the broad-based government. You know very well that there was Azimio and Kenya Kwanza. If you look at in the parliament, when ODM decided to work with the government or to go into broad-based government, there were some positions, especially that they were supposed to relinquish constitutionally in the starting order of the parliament, you know, but they decided to work, and even the ruling was made. Remember, the High Court ruled that ODM were the majority, and this was based on the fact that they had majority of members of parliament that were in Azimio. But you see, like they just ignore, because that one does not suit them. They decided to not to follow this law. Moses Wetangula, you see on how he's running the parliament, you know, whereby he has taken a decision. In this history, this is where we are seeing member of, especially a speaker, is campaigning for the government of the day, you know, and that is going against the spirit of our constitution. You see the speaker of Senate too is doing the same. You find a situation whereby there is not proper accountability, especially in parliament, and even when discussing on how sometimes the laws are being passed. You saw what happened during the debating of the finance bill, of the finance budget, and then the bill that was before the parliament. So there are things that we've normalized, especially if we feel that these things are not are slowing down what we want to achieve. We tend to go against the law because maybe we are the rulers and we are the kings of the on that particular line. So it's not something with the ODM, it is everything with all our political parties in society in general.
So let's hope that the society will come back to its senses and make the right decisions when it comes to what the constitution and what, of course, is needed. Yeah. So the other thing that I wanted to have a discussion on is the president's frequent foreign trips. President William Samoei Ruto has made frequent foreign trips. He has gone to Belgium the other day, Norway, Finland.
Akarudi akaenda G7.
America. The other day was in, I don't know,
France.
and most recently was here in France for the G7 summit.
Actually, alirudi, you know, President alitoka France akaenda Mombasa. There was something awesome summit somewhere in Mombasa, and President talked of how the minerals. They had a discussion with President Trump. You know, when
maybe let me just give let me just finish my question and then you can pick. There's a lot of criticism that is coming from the people, and the other day the Auditor General, the reports are showing that 1.3 billion has already been spent on these foreign travels in 9 months. This, of course, is sparking criticism that president is doing or is wasting taxpayer money. He counters that, and he says that.
How do you know? But president is bringing you development. Is signing deals.
So that is what he's saying. He's saying he's the cheap diplomat, not a tourist. And the other day in G7 summit, he was invited by the French president. And remember, not so long ago, was it last month? Yeah, it was last month that
how many presidents from Africa were available there? You know, like there's some information that people are not saying it. People are saying it's only President William Ruto from Africa was invited. No, there were 2 presidents from Africa that were invited in that summit.
Yeah, but he was actually the representative of Africa. And, you know, he was even given a chance, and he spoke about the debt relief, fairer lending terms, climate resilience, the digital innovation, and the Africa voice in AI. These are the same things that were talked about when there was this summit for the French summit here in Kenya. So he held lead. I mean, we saw that he had quite a number of conversation with the Narendra Modi of India, the president of Ukraine. We saw him with the president of Germany, the World Bank president, pushing for things to do with the trade and all those kind of things.
Yeah.
So the big issue here that people are asking is, are these trips strategic investment in Kenya's global environment, or these are just extravagant spending at a time of economic hardship? In your own view, and as somebody who was, uh, who has partly walked out of this republic and have had
Yeah.
quite a number of interactions with others. In your own view, just tell us in your own view what all this means.
You see, what is happening is there we have to look at the trips vis-a-vis what is coming in the country, especially because like there are those bilateral trades that people have to do, and sometimes the president has to do. But even though you have to make those trips, but there's a time that even as a businessman, you prioritize how can you minimize on the expenses and maximize it on the profit. you know Remember, Magufuli is one of those who decided that if you have ambassador in a particular country, that ambassador can play that role because you represent that country. But if you look at the trip that president has made, actually, you look at the spending and the state of the economy in the country, is that you could have the priority. What are our priority? Because like if you look at the trips that you look at, if I go out and to sign all these deals and to look for job even for my people, the money that I spend and what is coming back, you weigh, because like it is a matter of making sure that within your house you might be having profit. But if expenses are bigger than are what is coming in, I think we've become a spending nation. We are people who love to spend, and it is our priority. Look at even what we have in the counties. The other day I was seeing. Uh, Even today, I was the governors. You look at the interaction between the governor and the committee, and some of the spending and what they are spending on some of the money that are being disbursed to the counties. Hey, it makes you question: do we really, really, really have this country at heart? Especially whereby the inflation, especially when it comes to procurement, we inflate figures. What we do does not even reflect the money that we've spent. you know so I think like we are a country, especially our leaders love lavish, on a shopping spree. The president will go, the governors will spend, and later they tell you that people who have not been paid. Today I was watching one of the, I don't know, is an MP from Veka. She wanted to make payments, especially for some of our mothers in hospital, that she was spending her own money to pay that. So I don't know whether those women, they registered for SHA or SHA was not able to pay. So in a situation whereby you find leaders coming in, especially to pay for the bills that are pending for some individuals, and i- and as compared to what, especially we were told that the SHA was, so it tells you that we still have some gaps that we need to fill.
Okay. Thank you so much. And you've just spoken about the issue of counties, and that then brings me. You've reminded me of what we've been witnessing more so in the Senate. The interaction, just like you've mentioned, the interaction between the governors and the senators,
Yeah.
and part of what the governors are trying to say. For example, I saw Governor, you know, I saw Governor. Okay, I
Mm.
saw Governor Wanga
Mhm.
was being asked about some pending bills, and there's one particular that he was asked about toilet.
Mhm.
It's a two-door toilet, and he said that it's supposed to be constructed at a cost of 500,000, and then that it brought a lot, and
Yeah.
that really, you know, the question we are asking is, well, the funds are for the people. They're not her money. They're not. It's a money that has been collected by Kenyans.
Yeah.
And from my thinking and my understanding is, something that you guys have collected together, and when you want to do a spending on it, it is one that you should, it's that spending that you should be very keen with and maximize.
Yeah.
To ensure that, you get the best out of it. If a governor would say that a two-door toilet would be constructed with 500 shillings, what does that mean? Because is it, and we are seeing this, these are the moves that the governors are making. These are consistent behaviors that governors are trying to portray around. So my question to you is, even with the institutions that we have, the EACC and all those kind of things, how are we going to deal with this looting, the consistent looting among the leaders that have been elected by the people to oversee such serious,
Makobura, what is happening when you look at our country, especially, and this is why I still believe that the people who go into the leadership, especially in the country, a good percentage of them are not having the interest of this country at heart. And the reason why I say that is based on immediately I've been given an opportunity to serve in various capacities, what they do. And you would see, like, if somebody is given an opportunity even to serve as a governor within a short period of time, the life of this person will change. It will change drastically. The business that they acquire through proxies to do with the county, if you find, for example, whereby you talked about the latrine or the pit latrine that was done by the Oma Bay at around 500,000. They can justify that by giving you on the excavation and all that, to convince you that what they've done. But that one, if not enough, also when you go sometimes and visit the site whereby that maybe that latrine was constructed, is it worth? You can construct a pit latrine of around 500,000. It is possible, but what qualifies it is that if you see that kind of structure, you will really know that actually this matches the amount that is being quoted. The other time I saw, the same Oma Bay County, I was seeing this. There was a TikToker who was talking about the water and all that. You know, when people are given an opportunity to serve, they tend to secure their interest first. They make sure that they employ the people who are close to them. They make sure that they dealings. Look at all the dealings that are being done. Hata ukikuja kwa counties utapata kwamba maybe MCA fulani ako kwa the mix. So we've majority have reached a point whereby that we are milking, it is our time to eat, slogan. Kuna wale ambao waliwekwa walikula, sisi pia, it is our time to eat. So it is our time to eat syndrome that we have, but it's not our time to build our country. So our time to eat overrides everything.
Thank you so much, Brother Ben, for joining or finding time to be with us this evening. We really appreciate. Allow me as well to acknowledge and to say a big thank you to the people at the comment section. Kennedy, thank you so much for joining us via Facebook. We really appreciate your time. And so, Brother Ben, I'll give you a chance to give your final remarks.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Makobura, for hosting me, and I really thank you. As you close, you will give me a few minutes so that I can attend some other issue, but thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you so much, and we appreciate your time. We appreciate your presence. And to our viewers, I want to take this opportunity to appreciate them as well. Most of the ones who have communicated or given their views via the comment section, we really, really appreciate. And just to do an overview of what we've had, the discussion that we've had today. We've had a long discussion, starting, of course, from Sifuna versus the ODM Tribunal, where the political parties has ruled that ODM violated Edwin Sifuna's right to a fair hearing when attempting to host him as the Secretary General of ODM. His removal was declared unlawful, though ODM can restart the disciplinary proceedings if they follow the due process. And the question that we were asking is ODM party a party of democracy or a party of shortcuts? Because this ruling exposes deep cracks within ODM, torn between factions that want cooperation with Ruto's government and those pushing for stronger opposition. The question we were asking is Sifuna the defender of justice or just the latest casualty in ODM's latest endless wars? We've also had a discussion about Caleb Amesi's duel, where Caleb Amesi has come out swinging, denying claims that he's a mole for Ruto, warning that Kenya's youth could radicalize if reforms fail, and even proposing a David Maraga Edwin Sifuna ticket for 2027. Now, what is coming out here is his message is clear. Kenya must move beyond tribal politics, but let's ask it straight. Is he a visionary, courageous, or a reckless gambler? Amesi is positioning himself as a bold challenger within ODM, and the question is, will the youth rally behind him or dismiss his message as noise? We've also had a discussion on what lawyer Omari is critiquing. Lawyer Omari says that ODM keeps losing the tribunal cases because it ignores the basics due to process, fair administrative action, and internal party democracy. His words cut deep. ODM is embarrassing itself in court. That is what he says. He argues that the shortcuts and the procedural violations are why ODM repeatedly gets humiliated. So here is the challenge. Will ODM finally learn the law or keep tripping over its own rules? That is the question. We've had the opportunity to as well talk about Ruto's abroad. President Ruto has been globe-trotting. He's gone to Belgium, Norway, Finland, and many other countries. And most recently was in France for the G7 summit. Critics point that 1.3 billion has been spent on foreign trips in just 9 months. They're saying that this is a wasteful. Is he Kenya's chief diplomat, or is he just a frequent flyer? That is the question. Ruto is defending himself, saying that he is the chief diplomat, not a tourist. At the G7, he pushed Africa's agenda, debt relief, fairer lending terms, climate action, and digital innovation. So the debate remains: statesmanship or extravagance? Is Ruto building Kenya's global clout or burning taxpayers' cash? Those are some of the discussions that we've had tonight, and I want to take this opportunity to appreciate once again and to say a big thank you to everyone who joined us. Thank you so much, Kennedy Sankara, for joining us. The Galas, thank you so much. June Wesley, thank you so much. Brenda Obedi, thank you so much. Paul Kisiangas, thank you so much. We appreciate. We are live on our sister channel, Kikao na Sauti, and Brother Benson Media. Over here, we do say that your opinion counts. If you are watching for the first time, We request that you kindly like and subscribe, because if you do so, it a way of supporting us, na sisi hapa tutasema ni asanti. And for that reason, I would end at this particular moment. I want to take this opportunity to wish you all a blessed night, a blessed morning, a blessed afternoon, a blessed evening from wherever you're watching us from. Thank you so much, and may God bless you. See you again tomorrow. Bye bye for